onwards going full speed.
Oh, come on now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast if you want to watch the man who makes your rotaries lounge.
That's it. Welcome, everybody.
You belong on the Laser Lounge, not here.
Ayo, I get it.
Ayo. No.
How's it going, everybody? What's good?
They were just talking about how good the internet was.
It's so
What's
good.
up, everybody?
Hey, you might not have known this, but the Laser Source Podcast is brought to you by Johnson Plastics Plus. An amazing store online where you can buy all kinds of things like notebooks and cups and other stuff that doesn't have anything on it, and then you put stuff on it, and then you sell it for like 500% more. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to go check it out. There's a 15% off code down in the description. What's the code, Matt?
YLR-ZDF, but it may change in the future, so always check the links.
Thanks, Kyle. And we're hanging out with Jason today from Rotoboss. He popped in like the last 2 seconds last week, and we promised that he could come on this week. So now he's here, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, mostly the new Rotoboss Ascend Pro, but also about engraving while traveling, which is something you've been doing quite a bit of. And I'm excited to hear about the trailer. I hope you have some of your clips ready because I want like the virtual tour today. I'd love to see that. And so Jason here, everybody. What's up? Smash the like button and get ready to hang out.
Smash it.
What's up, man?
Not much. Just
hanging
doing? Out. And
oh, I know you're hanging out, dude. You, me, and that fucking massage chair getting down.
I might have to hit that up after this one.
I told everybody, like, just so you guys know, I told him he should do the whole thing from the chair and never move. Like, really, he's like, tell us about your rotaries. Well, I think like, just got down.
It's a massage chair, not a vibrator.
Oh, well, whatever.
After the show, I'm going to have my puppy walk on my back.
Cool. So what do we want to talk about first?
I want to talk about the Ascend Pro because I don't really get it. So tell me what is this? Because the Ascend is brand new. The Ascend just came out. So how is there a Pro? What does it do that the regular one doesn't do? The whole thing with the Ascend is the scissor lift, right? That's the like key feature that makes that the Ascend. So what is the Pro? Why is it professional?
Well, the Pro is I guess you could say I didn't know what else to call it.
Well, what does it do? Does it do anything different? It must do something different.
It does jumping jacks, squats.
Oh, nice.
Things like that. So
it vibrates.
So what you're saying is it lifts Pro.
It lifts like a Pro. So
there you go.
No, the Ascend was kind of my foresight or forethought into what the laser community is getting into, which is the smaller, faster heads, where the tower would get in the way.
Right. So the Ascend eliminates those towers.
Yes.
This kind of like scissor lift mechanism back here.
Correct.
Yep.
So yeah, it completely eliminates the towers. So the tallest part of the rotary is whatever's on it. So as long as you're within focus of that, moving the head or whatever shouldn't matter or won't matter really. So that was kind of the idea with the Ascend. Of course, we got the Junior and the Rotoboss, which the Rotoboss is obviously our flagship rotary.
Right.
It's got the dual lifts, dual towers, and then we have the Junior, which is a single. So the Ascend is kind of modeled after the Junior in that regard. It's got the single lift, but it's a scissor mechanism.
Right.
And it's not like your traditional scissor mechanism either. It's a lot more robust. It's a lot more sturdy. I mean, I know Matt's got one that he could probably speak to on his experience with that. But the other good thing about the Ascend is like if you take the clamp part off and you take the heel wheel off, you have a completely unobstructed pass between
so like vases,
across
beds, anything huge, dude. You can just
all
the way across your bed.
Yeah.
So like with a traditional tower, let's say your rotary only opens up about 16 inches. Well, let's say you have a 20 inch long and 8-inch or 10-inch round cylinder of some sort, whatever it may be. The arm would get in the way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if it extends past that. Whereas with this, you don't have to worry about that. And like I said, you can also do things like baseball bats. Had a lot of people doing like those cylindrical acrylic tubes,
Right.
or dowels, and engraving those. So that really lends itself to that, to doing that really well. But mainly it was geared around getting rid of the towers, mainly for the lasers with the smaller heads, where you have to get much closer to it, and the towers would often get in the way of the gantry, or you have a concern of hitting them, or what have you.
Is there
Um,
a downside to having something like the scissor versus the tower? I mean, do you lose anything by
not
going that direction?
not really. I mean, like I said, it's it's akin to the junior, really. So
Mhm.
in that regard, it's not any different mechanically. But where you gain function is with the heel wheel that comes with it. It's a stock feature. Whereas like the Rotoboss and Junior, it's an additional item, which eventually will be commonplace on the Rotoboss and the Junior at some point. We haven't got to that point yet, but so it lends itself to that, being that it has that with it. The clamp was improved a little bit over the Junior and the Rotoboss. And then we have not a second version, but we've made more adaptations to the clamp to make it a little bit more versatile, for some other stuff that we wanted to address.
See, one of the things, so you were talking about me talking about the one I've got. So this is actually from the footage. I've done a video about yours, and it's waiting to get edited and all that. But like what you were saying, it's so quick to set up, dude. So what's really nice is this tower that you've got here is machined directly across from the actual clamp. And so to set it up, you literally just toss it in, line it up. I have my red dot that I run from the center of this across to the center of this, and
Yep.
it's set up in like seconds. And I was trying to show people how quick it is. But then the other nice thing is too, with one hand, like if you're busy and you're moving and doing stuff, it's really easy to manipulate and move and work one-handed while you're doing stuff. So I mean, most of the time you have both your hands while you're playing with laser stuff, especially expensive items, but sometimes you don't. Things move, things happen. And so it's just really nice. All of these little thumb screws that you've got a lot of dexterity to be able to get to them quickly and easily. And I still haven't had a reason to take off this, but I did take it off for the video to show people how you take it off and how you can get out of the way to make things be unobstructed. And it's just, it all makes sense. And the nice thing is, if you have questions, one of the things in the video, I mean, I'm kind of spoiling it now, but like if you have a problem or when you don't know, you can call Jason. And so in the video, I picked one of the worst times I think to call, and I got like a call back. And like literally in the video, like I'm doing an elapsed time thing. But
He even called me from a number I didn't recognize.
Yep. I literally was like
I was like, what?
Get this. And so as I was like, I called him and I left him a message saying, hey, this is Matt from Laser Everything. I'm trying to show people your responsiveness. So of course you didn't pick up. And as I was like being funny on the message, I get a text message to my Google Voice that's like, hey, this is Jason from Rotoboss. Text me if you can. And I was like, dude, within 2 minutes of getting that phone call, and then we get on the phone call eventually, like I think it was like 20 minutes later, he was finally free to talk. And he's like, yeah, I was actually helping a customer with a problem. So I was in the middle of helping a customer, which is why I couldn't help you. So I was like, there you go. And so it's a good phone call too. And he talks about everything he's saying here. So if you didn't get to see this live, then you can hear him talk about more specifics and stuff too there. So it'll be a good video.
Nice.
And the cool thing too is I showed 20 ounces, 30 ounces. I think I did a pint glass. I mean, and it's all just seconds to change everything out. There's no having to, the only thing you got to do is make sure your level's with you, pop it on, crank it up, done. Very, very useful and versatile tool.
I'm looking forward to editing that one for
Yeah,
sure.
so like this is all the footage I got for it. It's all there. But you know, there you go. We'll put that under wraps again.
Yeah, one thing I want to make abundantly clear, even I try to put it out every time I get on something, either our podcast or yours or someone else's, is, you know, if you have a problem, please call. I mean, I put my number on every Rotary. You know, I don't believe in third party help, even though it would be nice for me. I take that personal, and if you have a problem, let me know. Like if you put a post out, you know, and I respond, hey, call me. I mean it. You know, I really want to help. Instead of you getting it in a roundabout way or misinformation from somebody else, I'd rather just help you and be done with it. So,
by the way, Bronson said the gummy bears are also a really nice touch.
Everybody loves gummy bears. It's good old Haribo. It's got the Haribo action going on.
We've been doing that from day one.
You mentioned just you kind of glossed over it, but you mentioned your podcast. Do you want to plug that real quick and tell people where they can find it? Because I've been there live like pretty much every week, and it's really good.
Yeah, we myself and Chris Acasio started up the Turn and Burn podcast to kind of hit the little nuance areas that a lot of the podcasts that are out don't. And it's more audience driven. I mean, we come up with topics and have people on and things. I mean, Matt will be on at some point, and Alex, I plan on having you as well, or Kyle or whoever. But you know, we try to hit up the kind of nuance areas of the laser and the rotary side of things, because there's not really a rotary platform out there specific to that.
Yeah.
Not that we're specific to it, but that's a main focus of it.
Let's turn and burn, right?
Turn and burn. Like turn.
I don't know if you noticed the description for tonight, but I put turn and burn. It's what I'm saying.
And burn.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Then it's down in the description.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, feel free to join us. We have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube channel, and we try to get out about every 2 weeks or sooner if we can. It's just trying to organize. Alex can attest to this. Trying to organize all the wild cats and get them in the same cage. It's kind of.
You guys have been on top of it. It's been really consistent. In fact, I mean, it's usually pretty easy for me to remember because a lot of the time you guys start when we end here. So that's a good time to check.
We start at 8.
Or before, right. We start when you end. Yeah, exactly.
We did that to because a lot of times Tuesdays happen to be the most free time for most people.
Yeah.
At least for myself and Chris. So we try to do it an hour ahead. That way, if people want to watch yours, you know, they're not missing out on that.
Yep.
But it kind of fluctuates sometimes. It depends on the guest too. Like sometimes we'll have a guest like, hey, I can only do Thursdays or I can do Wednesdays. And then we got to try to figure that out. So it varies, but we're trying to build it up and get more stuff. We're going to have Joey from Lightburn on this month sometime.
Nice.
To talk about handlebar. To talk about some stuff. I'm not sure exactly what. I'm kind of leaving it up to them what they want to talk about, but they'll definitely be on. And we got some other stuff lined up. We're just trying to get everything organized and straightened out. So yeah.
So back to the Ascend real quick. So we were talking about just the regular Ascend, but you've been throwing these images around. So this is the Pro version, right?
Correct.
So what is the big difference between this and this? Why is this the Pro? What is happening here?
It's freaking heavy. That's
heavy. It's heavy. Oh, hey, there it is.
So I don't know if you want to bring it in.
Yep.
So this is the Pro version. You're going to keep, basically with the Pro version, you're going to keep the scissor lift here for the slave wheels, but we've also added the adjustment of the motor. Because obviously, like with our Rotoboss and stuff, it's dual lift. So I I can't leave well enough alone, one. And I've actually got something else that I'll kind of hint towards the end of the podcast here that we got coming out as well. Another pro version of something. But yeah, so the base is fixed on this side, and it raises and lowers, and with it all the way down, it sits roughly the same height as a junior, which is about two and a half inches from the base, or the whatever you're sitting on, to the top of the wheels. So we kept it as low profile as we possibly could, and we can actually probably get it a little bit lower, but so this is the prototype. So it's not all colored up the way it's going to be. It's not all got its graphics on it and stuff. But so yeah, the motor mounts to the lift, so the motor and everything move with it. Because the reason I haven't done this before or sooner was trying to figure out how to get this to work. Raise and lower, still kind of keep the low profile, everything that we try to maintain with it. So we got some tweaking to do on it a little bit. This will be coming out later this year. I'm not exactly sure when. But you know, the good thing about this is now, if you have an Ascend already, once we come out with this, you'll basically just be buying this portion, and you can attach it right to your existing Ascend and turn it into this. So we'll have a couple different variations of it, or options for it, or options, yeah. And we built in a couple features that aren't used right now. Not features, but like holes and things like that, for other stuff that will hopefully eventually come to fruition, as far as attachments and things like that for easy use and different types of objects. But again, with this, the same thing is, you know, whatever you have on it is going to be the highest point of the rotary, and again, still being able to adjust both sides independently. So, but yeah, I've got a couple videos out there on my YouTube, my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff.
Do you have a release date in mind for this?
Not yet. Like I said, there's not any bugs. I mean, it works the way it is. But I got some tweaks I want to make to it to, one, try to get the cost down a little bit, because it will be quite expensive compared to what's out there now. But ultimately I want to make sure the cost is worth it to the customer, not only from a performance standpoint, but an aesthetic standpoint and a longevity standpoint. So there's a couple things that I want to make a little bit different and better to ensure that we're able to accomplish that. So,
well, we got a quick question. Like, so 4 days ago on one of the videos, I think it was actually last week's video where you hopped in at the end, someone had asked, I want to buy a rotary. I was about to buy the Ascend. Should I wait for the Pro? So what do you think?
Like I said, and I don't see that. Where's that question at?
Oh, this is literally, so we got that question like 4 or 5 days ago. Like it's on our YouTube. And they just said, like, I'm about to buy it, but hearing about the Ascend Pro, should I wait or should I just grab one now? And then, like, I'll let you talk about it, but it sounds like you got a couple options. So either way,
like I said, you'll have an option, and you know, the add-on option will be a little bit more expensive, not much. And we may be able to get it down to where it's not any more expensive than if you bought the whole unit anyways. Because I've tried to keep that. That's kind of been my goal through all of this, is any improvements or advancements we make that enhance the quality or the usability of the device, that, you know, whether you buy it now or buy it in pieces, you're going to be paying about the same price. Because I mean, I don't see any purpose. I mean, I get why people do it, but I personally don't see any purpose in jacking the price up just for that, because it doesn't cost me any more to make it, whether you know, so why should I jack it up just because it's an add-on? And a lot of people do that, and it's kind of something that I'm thoroughly against. And so I try to keep it as cost effective as possible.
Yeah, my suggestion. So it was from Derek Shoemake 5306. So Derek, if you're listening today or you're hearing this later, I'd recommend getting it. I mean, if you have it's a tool, and so every time Jason's ever come on here, I always say this statement: it's an investment into a tool that's valuable, right? So that's where you get the value in it. Cost and value have a little bit of different things. It's not a cheap tool, but that's because it's a really good one. It's well made. I mean, it's like 15 pounds. It's got to be 10.
Well, the regular Ascend is I think it's 10, just shy of 10 pounds.
It's
so this one's going to be about 13, maybe 15 pounds total.
Well,
I mean, if you can upgrade it to become a pro,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Why would you not? Even if it was like a little bit more expensive, I would just grab it now and
right.
start.
That's what I'm saying too. Because
rotating shit
in the video that you pay it off so quickly. Like, so I had 250 cups in the video that I ran through it. I had one mess up, and it was because I wasn't paying attention, and I pressed the button on something, and I was like, oh, damn it. So 251 cups, one error cup because I'm dumb. But the thing is, like in the video, I literally say, okay, this is where my profit starts. And so like I just paid off an entire Rotary, and the rest of this is just free money if I hadn't already paid it off. But I wouldn't even be able to do that if I didn't have the Rotary that's able to run consistently. And I think I ran that thing. Each cup was about 5 minutes, so 5 times 250, and it's just a monster. Just churns and burns, man. Boom.
And one of the things too is like with ours, like all our Rotaries, they have a lifetime warranty, which I don't think anybody else does. And that doesn't matter if you own it or you sell it or whatever, because the warranty follows the product, not the person. So, you know, I don't play those games like, oh, you had to be the original buyer. You know, to me, I stand behind the product. I don't care who the person is that owns it. So, and with the Ascend and even the Pro, that's pretty much the platform that we're going to be basing any and all advancements on moving forward, at least for the foreseeable future. I mean, we'll still have the Rotoboss because that's, you know, the flagship Rotary for the brand. The Junior will be around for a while. Eventually the Ascend will take over for the Junior. But there are some cases like on some Thunders and Eons and stuff where the Ascend is not the best for like the Miras and the Bolt and things like that, with a much smaller footprint. But so yeah, I mean, and then we also got the Boot, which is our entry level or more budget friendly for people. And so, you know, it's fairly comparable to what's out there now for like HM and who's the other one? A couple other aftermarket makers. It's a little bit more expensive, but you're getting the warranty, you're getting the quality, the parts and pieces are made from the exact same materials, so you're getting, you know, the best quality I can provide. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles and things like that the other ones do. So,
well, that's another thing too, as far as like how it's made, the machine. In all the videos, I always try to showcase that, but it's really hard to see the machined aluminum, how nice it looks when you're holding it in your hands. Like aesthetically, I mean, it's functional. That's the reason it's made of the quality material, but it's also aesthetically, like people who don't know anything about lasers have come into my shop and it's sitting on my shelf and people are like, oh, what's that do?
well, to me, it's like artwork.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's very, very well made.
It's functional artwork. I mean, and like the cost of that, I don't really pass. I pretty much absorb the cost of the milling stuff. But to me, it's worth it to kind of not only mechanically make it worth it, but visually make it worth what you're paying for it. So
yeah, it's impressive. Like when you open the box, it's just boom. You're like, ooh, this is cool. See, I want to look at the Boot one day. Honestly,
I mean, it's a pretty capable machine. I mean, it's smaller, it's a little bit more compact. You know, it can handle like JDS handled stuff, like their standard handled cups and things like that. Some of the Yetis and stuff too. But and you can make adaptations to it to raise it up a little bit to get a little bit more clearance if you have concern or anything like that of the handle hitting the ground or anything like that. So sorry, I gotta let the pooches out.
The question I have is, so for the, I know you used to have the low roller, which is like, that's what I've got for the Galvos. Would the boot be the best one for a Galvo laser right now that you've got, or what would be like the, because I know the Ascend can get low for the towers, for, you know.
The low roller was kind of my answer to the hot dog roller in the day. So it was meant to handle your cups. It was never really built around handling handled objects and things like that. Though it will do certain ones, it won't do all of them. But for the Galvo, chances are you're probably not doing too many handled things anyways. But the boot is a little bit more, it's like an upgrade between the low roller and the junior as far as what it can do. So it can handle more of the handled cups and things of that nature. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a replacement. I mean, the low roller we're phasing out. So it's kind of like once they're gone kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the boot will take over for that.
Okay.
So that's kind of the plan anyways. But yeah, I mean, I know it's tough for people to see so many different rotaries in one place instead of like seeing all these different brands and be like, okay, which one do I want? You know, my goal is to be able to, well, one, for the longevity of the company, and two, to offer something to everyone, regardless of your budget, your machine, your capabilities, you know, those type of things. So, and then like with the Ascend Pro, that was just more of a passion project. We'll be doing probably a limited run of those to see how they do. And if they do well, then we'll make it a mainstay. But you know, the first run will probably be like a short run of probably 100, just to see
Like
if
what's
people
the take on it.
Yeah, to see what people think. And plus, doing them short runs like that, we get them out there, we get people using them, we get feedback, because obviously I'm just one person looking at it. You know, when someone uses it more than I would use it necessarily, I get more and important feedback from others using it, and then we can make changes.
Jobs that they might get that you don't get, you know, like the interesting items, I guess we should say.
I'm actually noticing like there's some cool things about this I didn't notice before. Like, one, is this a 1-to-1 gear ratio?
Yeah, all of our rotaries are 1-to-1.
Oh man, that's so cool. This really showcases that. And then two, is this a stepper controller on the motor?
Yeah, that's the hybrid or the integrated stepper that Thunder uses on their lasers.
Wow.
So depending on your laser, you'll get the motor that's suited for your laser.
Right.
This just happens to be the one that we had them laying around. So I
haven't played with this before. That looks pretty interesting. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about that is, well, like with Thunder, they use the U axis, so you don't have to worry about the Y or switching or anything like that. Like,
yeah, Chris loves to talk about that on Turn and Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes it more convenient.
Definitely.
I wish they would go to just a regular 2-phase and put the driver in the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one, I mean, those motors, I think each motor is about with the wiring and everything, is about $180 just for the motor.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, and that's what I charge, or well, kind of figured into the price, but like I don't make any markup really at all on that because it is so expensive, and I can't see.
180 bucks is an expensive motor. That's like just period.
But if you think about it, between a motor and a driver,
Yeah.
it's about the same. Like if you had a separate driver in the machine, wired it up and everything on a switch, and then have the motor, you're looking about the same cost. So it's not really that much more if you did it that way. It's just the fact that it's
just like
that
the choice
that you have to do it that way with the integrated motor. Yeah, that's why, like, if you,
the only
because some of the
downside
rotaries, like the Rotary Junior,
if you toast your motor, if you like mess up and do something stupid and toast your motor, you're now out a driver as well, which is kind of a bummer. But there's always a trade-off. So
yeah, but I mean, I've been using these motors with Thunders for going on nearly 5 years now, and I have yet to have a motor go bad.
nice.
Or at least that I've been informed of. No one's come to me and said, "Hey, my motor's fried," or something happened. So they're really good motors. They're lead shine, which is, I would argue, that it's probably the industry leader in motors, and most lasers use lead shine motors. So they're really good motors. They stand behind their stuff. So
Yeah, I'm into this, man. I almost feel like you're announcing it early. Now I don't want to wait. Now I want a pre-order page up or something.
Yeah, no, and like I said, with getting the first run out, it's kind of like with the Talon. We sent out the first run, and we realized, okay, well, I want to make some changes.
Yeah, let's talk about the Talon really quick too, because we haven't really mentioned that one tonight. Is the Talon something that, like, if I get an Ascend, I can slap a Talon on it and use that as like a base? Yeah, that all works together.
Yep, and we got some videos on how to attach it to the Ascend, how to attach it to the Junior and the Rotoboss. So you can attach it to any one of those to make it a combined unit.
Yeah.
So, but as far as even with the Pro, you'd be able to put the Talon on the Pro as well. But even like I was saying with the Talon, when it first came out, we did a first run of about 100, and then we got feedback and things like that. Plus, I made some changes at the last minute that I couldn't implement because I didn't have them. So the people that ordered those first 100 got the replacement parts to make it a current production unit at no cost.
Is that why this is limited? Will be on back order soon? Is because you guys are making those changes?
No, the changes have already been made.
Oh, okay.
The limited is just saying we're running out, and I think we're probably out by now. Anything from here on out is pretty much gonna be back order. Because we had some that had some manufacturing issues that we weren't comfortable sending them out.
Yeah.
And we're working on fixing that. So if we get those parts in to correct those issues, then we'll have some more to put up on the site while we're waiting on the next batch to come in.
Nice.
But we've made not really made any changes, but we've just enhanced a few of the features a little bit. So nobody that has one now is going to lose anything by not having the latest and greatest.
Sure.
But yeah, so.
Well, there's a couple of questions that people asked over there that Kyle starred. You want to throw them up?
So Bronson said, my question is, do any of the Rotaries allow for doing small baseball bats or no? I was thinking about doing those for senior gifts at the high school I used to attend and pitched the idea. I see what you did there with pitching. And I think what he's talking about is like the mini bats.
Yeah. Yeah, all of our Rotobosses, the Junior, the Rotoboss, the Ascend, and the Talon will all do those types of things. I mean, even like the Rotoboss and Junior will do baseball bats. They'll do, like, we had one guy like last Easter, the year before, did a full wrap on a freaking egg.
Oh yeah.
with it, and so I mean it's more than they're all more than capable. I tend to say, like, when people ask me what's best is, as much as I'd like to sell any of it, my main goal is to make sure that you get something that fits you. And with a lot of people now with the galvos and the chucks and all that stuff, a lot of people are wanting to gravitate towards the chuck. But that's not always going to be the best use case for your situation, because it's more of an additional tool. It's not really a better tool, and that goes both ways, roller or chuck, because there's certain things a roller will do that a chuck won't, and there's certain things a chuck will do that a roller won't. So unfortunately, we don't have like a one thing does all kind of situation, because it's at the present time it's nearly impossible. I mean, we're working towards that, and I've got some ideas for some stuff like in the future, that may or may not help with that.
The idea, man.
And not what I told you about, Matt. Something
Okay, all right.
I mean,
totally
part of the nice thing is, like, it seems like as you guys move forward with your models, things are getting more modular. So even if it in a particular configuration cannot do everything, it can be configured to be what you need it to be when you need it to be it, and that's nice. Like being able to drop the Talon in and being able to raise both ends of the ascend and not having the towers in the way. Like, things are just getting more modular.
And
and
I see that
all work together. That's really nice.
I see what Echo put up there, with the tail stock. These are hard to find, and yeah. Like, we have an option to. Well, first off, our Talon was designed. It's a 4-jaw, so it's a lot more stable than a 3-jaw. It has more pressure points, so you don't have to apply as much pressure to, let's say, glass or something like that, where you can often shatter it, or tumblers or something like that, where you can stretch it out by gripping it too tight. And we built it to not need a support mechanism. However, we do have a support mechanism option available. When you purchase the chuck, there is a link to the actual support mechanism that you can attach to it, which is basically a junior arm that you can attach to it.
I'm with Christina. What's a tailstock? I'm not familiar with that.
Well, I mean, people call it different things: slave wheels, tailstock, support arms, whatever.
Okay, so like how X-Tool does the RA2 Pro, you have the chuck, and then there's just like the little wheels that come with it.
Yeah, like if you go to our website and you go to the chucks, the combos, off to the right, you'll see an option or a link to an option for the tailstock or support. But like I said, with the Talon, you really don't need it for probably 95% of the stuff you'll do. We had a guy do a fifth of whiskey, and he was holding it with just the chuck. Yeah, he was just holding it with the chuck.
Damn,
that's impressive.
He was doing it on his UV laser, and he was just holding it with the chuck. It was one of them round.
He had a handle spinning.
I don't think it had a handle on it. It was a fifth of Jack. I don't know what it was, but it was one of them round.
That's impressive. Goddamn.
Because he sent that to me. I'm like, holy crap.
Is this what you're? Hold on, let me throw my screen back up. Is this what you're talking about here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the support that would go, and you get a replacement arm that makes your unit a little bit longer to allow you to get more travel with that arm on there. So it replaces the original, and you can support whatever it is you're putting on it.
Yeah, it's slick.
But again, I mean, yes, you can get it. Yes, you can use it, but in most cases, it's not necessary.
That's if you were doing that all the time and you wanted to just ensure you didn't have some kind of a like breakage and spillage. Because if you do it once and you ride or die and it's like, woo. But if if people start, you're the guy now.
If you're doing liquor bottles or long heavy things, then yeah, it's probably beneficial for your situation. But that's why I don't currently have it as a combo yet. Just because I don't want to confuse people, I guess, any more than what they might already be. Because I saw someone post a question: "Is do we have a guide?"
Yeah.
I have somewhat of a guide, but I
You need
prefer
like
to
a flow
talk.
chart, man.
Well, I prefer to talk to people because, what they think they need after talking to them, they realize that's not what they need. They need this or whatever. Because again, my main goal is to make sure people have what they need, because I don't, like I said, I'll sell you anything, but I only want to sell it to you once. I don't want, you have to buy something else because what you got originally didn't work, or you have to try to sell it and lose money and this and that. I would rather communicate with you, find out what your needs are, and suggest something that fits your needs. So that's why I always say, hey, call me, message me, whatever. I'm always, if I'm free, I'll answer, I'll talk to you, I'll help you out.
Slide into his DMs.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is to call or text. Emails, I get so much junk email, a lot of it gets lost. If we get into a conversation where, hey, let's do this in email so we can keep a paper trail, and then we go that route. But initially I like to talk to people, because a lot of times when they call, they've got something in mind, and then when they're done, they end up, whether it's cheaper or more expensive than what they originally planned on spending, either way they're getting what they need to do what they want to do with it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like, he literally answers in the middle of lunch, because he and I ate lunch the first time I went over there, like a year ago. I guess it was a year and a half ago. He was eating lunch, putting down his burrito, like wiping his hands. I mean, like, going, like we were in the middle of filming something. He was like, hold on a second, boom. And you were on the phone with that guy for like 15 minutes helping him. He just couldn't understand that Thunder Laser, you only had one option to buy. And Jason was super patient. Like, I was sitting there like, is this guy not hearing what he's saying? And Jason just was like, yeah, no problem, I understand. However, if you just, like, he was so patient with the guy. He's like, nope, that we're proprietary for them, so we got that covered. And the guy was like, right, but if I buy it through you, like,
yeah, we don't, like the Rotoboss and the Junior, like Thunder anyways, there are licensed distributor seller, through them. The Junior and the Rotoboss have to be bought through them. One, so they can keep track and help with support and things like that if they need be. And two, it just makes things, a lot simpler for the end user to have one person to go to. And obviously I'm there too. I don't expect Thunder or anybody else that I partner with to handle my support. But it is good to go through them because they can track that. And they're going to start getting more stuff as we go.
Christina said, ask him how long he's been on the phone with me.
Yeah, me and Christina have had some long conversations.
Good times.
Kyle, you're the one, you have the springy cone thing, right?
The Rotary? Yeah, I do.
Can you show that? Do you have it within arm's reach somewhere?
Man, this is supposed to be about me, man.
I'll find it.
Kidding.
I just want to show Echo, because Echo's saying, yeah, something like on the screen that hold your item from underneath. I was thinking something to push in from the end, and I was like, that's exactly what Kyle has. And now I'm curious if there's something like this in Rotoboss's future.
Well, I mean, the good thing is like, if you get the support arm, you can get the spring-loaded heel wheel too if you wanted. But realistically, there's no need for any of that. The only thing the heel wheels do is, because inherently a chuck, and I don't mean to say this in a negative way, but I personally, I'm not a fan of chucks, because I like expediency, and rollers are a lot more expedient, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff. But also, with the chuck, it has a lot to do with the user. There's a lot more of the user's input that dictates how well the cup sits in there, how it's tightened down. And inherently with a chuck, even with the D80s and E90s, you're going to have a little bit of deflection or kind of a wobble to them. And the support system basically helps eliminate that, because it self-regulates how the cup is sitting. So if you mess up and put it in there wrong and it's got a little bit of offset to it, when it rolls on the wheels, it's going to center itself out with the support wheels. But we're also working on ways to kind of make it further foolproof, I guess you could say, as far as trying to eliminate as much of the possible user error as possible. So future iterations of the chuck will eventually have that incorporated into them. But a lot of it comes down because I've had a couple people like, oh, I can't get this. I had them mail it back. I look at it, everything's right. Send it back to them. Kind of, I guess, educate them a little bit on how to use it, and after that, it's usually not a problem.
It's really interesting to me that you feel that way, because I feel almost like exactly the opposite. I feel like there's so many more variables with a roller that you have to account for than there are with a chuck. Like when we were shooting, we just finished wrapping up shooting on a video where we're reviewing Johnson Plastics Plus's tumblers, and I used the Rotoboss Junior for the entire video. Anything we had to do rotary for, we used the Rotoboss Junior for. And I was like struggling the whole time with like the cups would like walk, so I had them like up against the heel, but then the heel was adding too much friction, and they weren't like rolling right. And like with a chuck, if I had like the Talon, I would just be like slapping it in and hitting go. I don't know. It seems more straightforward to me, but I mean, obviously you have more experience in this than I do. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just it's an interesting perspective for sure.
That's one of the things
I wouldn't say more experience, though. I would say it's just like a preference, I guess.
Perhaps, yeah.
Because the whole reason that I came out with the Rotoboss initially was to eliminate the chuck. And it was successful because obviously the technology wasn't there, the capability wasn't there to make one at the time. Because I mean, I've had a chuck in the bag for several years, but with the rise of the galvos, it became more of a necessity, I guess, for users, because with the galvo you are moving around a lot faster. You can do cross hatching a lot better, multiple passes and things like that. Whereas with a roller, that's not really what they're made for.
Right. Did you happen to find it, Kyle?
I did.
Yeah.
So it's heavy for starters, but it's on a rail, right? So this piece slides back and forth. The D80 or whatever rotary you want to use mounts over here. This is just a spare plate. And on this side, you would either stick one of these cones. There's ones that have stems on the back to fit into the chuck. Or you can fit a flat, and you can stick the cone on this side. And it literally, this is spring tensioned.
Yeah. And
you can actually put a drawstring on this side and do quick changes with it. But I had a terrible time with this on the UV, and I'll tell you why. Anytime I would put like a wine glass in or something else, especially if it was handmade, if the rim wasn't perfect on this mating surface, it was absolutely brutal. Walk all over the place. It wouldn't turn on center.
Probably changing focus constantly, right?
Yeah, and on the UV, that's obviously pretty important. But that I at some point I need to get rid of rotary. Is long and the short of that.
Yeah. Well,
I just wanted to get a visual on screen. Sorry, Matt.
I'm gonna say the heel wheel is awesome. Like in the video, that's one of the things that I talked about that's really nice. I actually put mine to where, so when you've got the heel wheel pushing it, right, you basically can slide the device as far up as you want on it to put the pressure on it. So for a water bottle, and this is straight up, so one of the things I talk about in the video is how water bottles have a threaded end. And when you put that on the wheel, like the actual wheel that has the motor on it, then what ends up happening is it does spin and it wants to corkscrew and walk. So on my old Rotoboss that I had, the old red, I had to literally 3D print a threaded, and Kyle, if you remember, you helped me with that. I think you were one of the people who helped me with that. I created like a threaded plastic, and I 3D printed it, and I screwed it on. And so I would literally have 2 of them, and I'd get the next one ready, and I'd do that, and it was just a pain in the ass. With the new thing, the heel wheel, when you put the tension on it, like knowing that needed more tension, I tried it and just put more tension on it, and no problem, nothing walked. I was able to knock out an order of, I think I had like 18 or 20 of those, and no walking, nothing going crazy. And so that's what's really nice about that spring-loaded heel wheel, because it lets the tension, if it does start to walk, depending on if you're like, again, user error, I guess, like I know it needed more, so I put more on it. But on like 20 ounces and 30 ounces, I didn't even need to. Like it just kind of.
Well, it also absorbs deflections in the cup too.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you come up against a warped lip or a warped bottom piece or something, the spring-loaded wheel will actually absorb that to prevent, well, 1, to maintain pressure, and 2, to prevent binding. So that's where it kind of comes in handy.
Does the Junior have a heel wheel, or is it only that like backstop plate?
No, we have a heel wheel add-on that you can get for it.
It's like aftermarket though. Maybe I've got to order one of those. I'm gonna need that because
it'd be an add-on.
That was like my biggest issue. Everything was perfect. I was actually, the day that I was shooting that video, I was talking to you because you and Chris were doing the podcast and you were talking about setting up rotaries. And I was like, I should probably watch this. I haven't set up a rotary in like 4 years. So I was like watching and talking to you guys while I was doing it. And that was the only thing that bothered me, was that backstop plate. So I feel like I need a wheel. So I have to get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do with that, like, if you set it up, and because the heel plate should be about 1 millimeter or 2 from the back of the cup, and then the front should touch the clamp bracket. And if you're just doing like a single,
it shouldn't be touching that plate, is what you're saying?
No, it should be touching the front plate where the clamp is.
Right.
And then the heel plate should have about a millimeter or 2 of a gap.
Oh.
If you have too big, if you have too big of a gap, then yes, it will walk.
I was doing it the opposite way. I had it all the way back, so it was touching the wheel in the front, but not any of the metal up there. And then it was like kind of resting on the heel plate.
No, yeah, that's the opposite of what it's intended. But like if you're doing wraps or something, like typically what I tell people is you'll set it up as normal, and then you'll basically load it in and then slide the cup back to the heel plate, because that's always where it's going to walk. And no matter what roller you have, it's going to walk for various reasons, whether the cup's a little bit warped or there's so many different reasons for it. But if you put it to the heel plate, especially if you're doing wraps and stuff, you're basically preventing it from going anywhere else, because it's already going to walk to the heel. So if you already load it to the heel, then that's problem solved. But the flip side of that is you don't want to have a lot of gap in it, whether it's in the front or the back. Because
I feel like my struggle was with like friction. You know, like I almost wanted to like grease the bottom of the cup so it would like ride along the heel smoother. But I guess that's where the wheel would really come into play and make that.
I mean, it'll ride pretty smooth against the heel plate. I mean, that's why, one, it's aluminum instead of like a plastic or something, and then it's also anodized.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, people are like, oh, it's scraping, but you're not damaging anything. It might leave a little white mark that you can just wipe off when you're cleaning your cup. It's not going to leave a permanent mark.
I was less worried about damage and more like I was going to like miss steps, you know?
Yeah.
It could have just been in my head. I didn't do enough. We probably did like 8 cups. It wasn't like I was doing like 100 of them and noticed.
I was going to say, at a certain point when you're doing production runs, so this is one of the ones that I had, and it was for our local power company. I actually get like a little bit of slippage because of the dust that gets made from, you know, like it's like fine powder, and it gets on the wheels. And so what I did is I just give it a spin, and I hold a rag on the wheels and literally just give it like a 360 and wipe that stuff off and clean it off real quick. And that's the only ever issue that I can think of when I'm using it. So this is what I filmed at 2x speed, and you can see, I mean, it's just really smooth, really going. And on some of this, like if you kind of click, you can see like this movement is really minimal, but like you notice it. And so you do have those little things where it tries to move and tries to do something, but it just keeps it all in place. So, and this is what I was saying. Like, so for me, this is how I load mine. You can tell me if I'm doing it backwards, like Alex was saying. But for me, I've got a little bit of extra tension here, like when you see it go.
Yeah.
And like, so here's me coming in, move the head out of the way. You can kind of see it move.
When you load it in, you keep your hand around the base of it, and I use my whatever ring finger to pull the arm back and then push the cup in. So it's just one fluid motion.
That's it.
So it takes some getting used to. The biggest thing is you don't want to have too much tension, because too much tension will cause friction. Too much friction on the front, which can cause binding. There should just be it should touch the cup, and then about 1/4 of an inch of loaded tension, and that's it.
Well, and that's where, like, if you saw that, so for anybody who's watching, if you saw it, if you're listening, basically the heel wheel moved probably like 2.5 to 3 millimeters, maybe is probably where mine is. But what's nice too is once you get it in, like, so on your first cup or two, one of the things I've noticed too is if you want to give it, like, just spin it all the way through the axis, you know, like give it a full run through the axis, you can hear like a little, almost like a singing, like the top of the cup hitting against the plate. And if that's going on, I've found that it's maybe a little bit too much, and that's where you can move things just enough to where you hear it ping. I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, I mean,
but like
part of that is to cause friction.
Yeah.
Because, you know, obviously you want some friction to help with the slipping. So you basically using the metal on metal at the front to cause your friction to help limit how much it slips when it's going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're somebody who's worried about that, like, you can literally monitor whether or not it's catching as you run that. You know, that's your thing. If that's, I've never run into that, because it really is kind of intuitive. Like, you're like, oh, that's not working right, I should fix it. So
yeah.
But if you've never used it,
so I've done it again. We're at the last 5 minutes with Jason Rife, and we still haven't talked about mobile laser engraving. So next time you come back on, we're not talking about rotaries. All I want to do is talk about the trailer. I have so many questions about it, and we've just like completely blown through our time together today. Really quick, before I let you go, though, Jason, I want to speed run the rest of these questions we have in chat. I saw Kyle start a few more.
I'm going to drop the link into my playlist for the trailer build, so if anybody wants it, I'm dropping that in right now.
Cool. Yeah, you guys can go get a taste of it before we have Jason back on.
We'll be
back on. I'm sure Jason's always like, hey, if you need an extra, I can come on tonight. So it won't be difficult to get him back in here so we can chat about the trailer. But
go check out the socials for Rotoboss. They're really like that. You guys have made some funny stuff. Like, I saw the laser today, like the secret laser of doom or something like that. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, my video guy, he has too much fun and time on his hands, I guess. But no.
All right, Kyle, we got 2 minutes, man. You want to just spring us through what's left real quick?
Only one we got left.
Oh, nice.
Kyle, do you have a video of how your springy thingy works?
No.
Whoa.
Officially speaking, no.
I dropped a link under that to my spring. I thought, just a quick glance, I thought she was
I'm gonna share the link to his springy thingy.
I got it dropped in there now.
Imagine coming on my show and comparing springy thingies.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually
another one right, too. Actually. I really wanted to highlight this comment because, of course, Kyle skipped it. Here, Frugal Clock says Kyle from Discord is the greatest of all time. Great community. There you go, Kyle. You're the greatest of all time.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Are you good? Is everybody good? Yeah, good. Well, Jason, thank you for coming on and imparting your knowledge upon us. I appreciate it as always. And next time you come on, we will talk about the trailer. We'll get the trailer scoop. I want to get all caught up on that. if you want to follow Jason or buy some of his crap, go check out the links in the description. We're actually an affiliate, so you can buy from Jason and help support the channel at the same time. It's a win-win-win. You get an amazing thing. We get a little cash, and Jason gets a good chunk of it. And you support people making good stuff instead of garbage. So if you want more good stuff on the market, then people like Jason deserve your hard-earned money. So definitely go check that out. Lots of coverage on Rotary stuff coming up. Matt, as he was saying, has worked really hard on putting together some content for you guys on that. I've got the Johnson Plastics Plus Tumblr episode coming up. That'll be the last one that gets edited from that little mini series. So it's still a ways out, but it's coming. It almost completely features the Rotoboss Jr. And so there's a lot of stuff. If you guys are really lucky, maybe Kyle will make an episode about his springy thingy. Who knows? If you got value out of this one, guys, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when Jason is ready to talk about the trailer. Guys, it's seriously so cool. It's like an apartment in there.
Well, I forgot about the Talon Pro. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
maybe for another day.
Oh, no.
What a, like,
cliffhangers.
Stop coming on here and telling me about shit I can't buy.
He's got more and more ideas. He's like freaking Willy Wonka or Rotaries over here.
If you love the channel and you want to help support it financially, you can sign up for the Laser Master Academy. It's the #1 way to support the channel, and you get a bunch of bonus goodies like live streams, and you get bonus content that goes along with our free courses that we've been working on. And by we, I mean Matt, including but not limited to written courses, audio stuff that you can listen to, and self-paced assessments. It's really awesome. So go check that out. But if that's not your thing, or you don't need the help, we also have the Make Army stuff now. It's all the normal kind of supporter platforms you see from content creators, Patreon, and we got LiberaPay, YouTube memberships, and Coffee. All of that stuff is set up and accepts PayPal. So if you haven't signed up for the LMA because you want to use PayPal or don't have a credit card, go check that out. You can find out all about it over at lasereverything.net/support. All of Jason's links are down in the description. Go click them all and make sure that you are subscribed, however those platforms demand it, so you get updates from Jason too. If you're joining us from Jason's channel, thanks for coming out. I just noticed that we're streaming to Rotoboss as well, so that's awesome. Yep. Thanks for being here, guys. Live chat, I love you all. My co-hosts, I love you. And Jason, I love you, man. Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate your time, dude.
All right. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That's all I've got. We will see you in the next one. Go watch The Amazing Digital Circus. It's free on YouTube. Good night.